Las Vegas promised a futuristic transit revolution, 68 miles of Tesla tunnels, hundreds of stations, and rides that would change city life forever. But behind every glowing headline, locals and experts are warning of flawed design, safety lapses, and a system that may only serve tourists. Are the Vegas tunnels bold innovation or a costly mistake? The truth starts underground. Beneath the neon and bustle of Las Vegas, the Vegas Loop operates with a surprisingly simple premise. Electric Teslas travel through single-bore tunnels and ferry riders from one underground station to another. The system is built and run by the Boring Company, Elon Musk's tunneling venture. Unlike a subway or monorail, there are no long trains or fixed schedules. Instead, passengers enter a station, select their destination from a digital kiosk, and are assigned a Tesla, Model 3, Model X, or Model Y. The car then drives directly to the chosen stop, skipping all others along the way. Each tunnel is about 12 feet wide, just enough for a single lane of traffic. Most rides are staffed by a driver, though some vehicles are now testing full self-driving features, always with a human safety operator on board. The current system limits speeds to around 35 miles per hour in the convention center and strip tunnels, with plans to reach 60 miles per hour in new segments under construction toward the airport. Tunnels are lined with concrete segments, and stations are spaced at key destinations, convention halls, resorts, and entertainment venues, rather than at regular city intervals. The point-to-point routing is the loop's main departure from traditional transit. Instead of stopping at every station on a line, each ride is customized. A visitor can board at Resorts World and travel straight to the convention center, or from Encore to Westgate, without intermediate stops or transfers. The system aims to reduce wait times and walking distances, especially during big events when surface traffic is jammed. Direct routing is the core idea. Fleet size is flexible, scaling with demand. At opening, the convention center loop operated with about 60 Teslas. As new tunnels come online, the Boring Company expects to grow the fleet to 160 vehicles, and eventually as many as 300 as the network expands toward the airport and beyond. Some vehicles are equipped with luggage racks or extra seating, but all are standard production Teslas, not custom shuttles or buses. Fleet planning matters for how the system performs. Steve Davis, president of the Boring Company, describes the loop as an on-demand, non-stop ride system. The company claims that even with dozens of stations, any trip across the network could take less than 9 minutes, thanks to direct routing and higher tunnel speeds in future phases. Riders are never grouped into large crowds. Most cars carry 3 to 5 passengers, sometimes sharing with strangers, sometimes reserved for a single party. The experience is closer to a private car service than a subway, but without the congestion of surface streets or the fixed paths of a train. This system design, cars in tunnels, individually routed, with limited stops, sets the stage for questions about capacity and throughput. The key question is how many people the loop can actually move, and whether its promise of fast, flexible travel holds up when the city is at full tilt. Capacity is the dividing line between a futuristic ride and true public transit. The Vegas Loop's first real test came at the Las Vegas Convention Center in 2021. During a major convention, operators pushed the system to its limits, reporting a peak of about 4,400 passengers per hour. That figure came from a stress test. Every available Tesla, every seat filled, cars dispatched with minimal turnaround. The Boring Company later raised its claims, saying new tunnels and more vehicles could boost throughput to 6,600 passengers per hour as the network expands. To put those numbers in context, transit experts look to the benchmarks set by established systems. A single line of heavy metro rail, think New York, Paris, or even the busiest lines in Los Angeles, can move anywhere from 20,000 to 40,000 people per hour in one direction. Even bus rapid transit, running articulated vehicles on dedicated lanes, often handles 8,000 to 15,000 riders per hour. The Vegas Loop's best-case scenario, at 6,600, sits closer to an airport people mover or a large hotel shuttle than to a city's backbone transit line. The reason is simple math. Each Tesla seats 3 to 5 people. Even with 300 cars in constant motion, The system's capacity is capped by how quickly drivers can load, unload, and turn vehicles around in narrow tunnels. Unlike a train, which can carry hundreds at once, the loop's model relies on a steady flow of small groups. That flexibility is appealing for point-to-point rides, but it limits how many people can move during peak demand. For example, when a major event lets out or the strip floods with visitors. Independent transportation analysts have published graphics comparing the loop's numbers to other systems. One chart shows the loop's 6,600 passengers per hour dwarfed by the Las Vegas monorail, which claims up to 4,000 riders per train at full crush load, and by regional light rail lines in other cities. The contrast is even sharper against the kind of high-capacity subway networks found in older urban centers. As one transit expert puts it, cars in tunnels are not mass transit. They are a premium shuttle. This debate over capacity is at the heart of local controversy. Some residents and planners argue that while the loop is novel and convenient for short trips, it cannot replace the role of a true metro or bus system for a growing city. The question becomes whether Las Vegas is investing in a scalable solution, or a tech-forward amenity that looks good in renderings but falls short in practice. Let us know in the comments, do you think the Vegas Loop is a brilliant future city idea, or a costly mistake that missed the mark? Hit like if you want more deep dives like this. Clark County's approval of the Vegas Loop covers a vast network, 68 miles of tunnels and 104 stations, stretching from the Strip to downtown to Chinatown to the stadium and eventually to the airport. This is not a small experiment. It is a franchise agreement that gives the Boring Company the right to build and operate the system under county oversight. County officials describe the loop as a privately funded, regulated project that will transform how people move through Las Vegas. In public statements, they point to the streamlined permitting process, which allows each new tunnel segment to be reviewed and approved within about 6 months. The Boring Company, for its part, frames the loop as a model for fast, affordable urban infrastructure, and regularly highlights the vision: direct non-stop travel between dozens of destinations, with the flexibility to scale as demand grows. Yet not every institution has signed on. UNLV was publicly reported to be in talks about hosting a station near campus, but as of today there is no loop station on university property and no formal agreement in place. This absence stands out, given the loop's ambitions to serve major city destinations. While the county and city have granted broad approvals, the lack of a campus station reflects a more cautious approach from some local stakeholders. The Boring Company's spokesperson emphasizes ongoing discussions with potential partners, but the slow pace of institutional buy-in outside the resort corridor hints at deeper questions about who the loop is really designed to serve. On camera, Clark County's spokesperson describes the franchise as a balance between innovation and accountability, while the Boring Company's representative calls the project the largest infrastructure initiative of its kind in the nation. In total, about 1/5 of public airtime is devoted to these official voices, setting the tone for a project that promises to reshape Las Vegas if it can deliver on both its scale and its local support. At a construction site off Paradise Road, a wide, unlined pond of neon green liquid sat exposed for days, just steps from homes and small businesses. Neighbors reported chemical odors drifting into their yards, while dump trucks piled dirt over the surface instead of removing the fluid. Environmental engineer Dietrich McGinnis reviewed footage and called the practice hazardous, warning that such drilling fluids can carry heavy metals and industrial chemicals. The state's environmental agency, NDEP, later confirmed nearly 800 violations tied to the Vegas Loop's construction, most for missing required inspections and failing to hire an independent environmental manager. A cease and desist letter in September cited untreated groundwater dumped onto city streets and muck spilled from trucks. Under the original settlement, fines could have topped $3 million, but NDEP used its discretion to reduce the penalty to $242,800. County regulators also issued a separate violation after inspectors caught workers pumping drilling waste directly into the sewer system. According to county records, the Boring Company staff initially ignored orders to stop and later gave false statements about when the dumping began. The county assessed close to $500,000 in penalties for these actions, citing damage to public infrastructure and non-compliance with local rules. On the ground, the consequences were felt by those working in the tunnels. One construction worker described standing in ankle-deep water, skin burning from contact with chemical-laced muck. Nevada OSHA fined the boring company more than $112,000 for safety violations, including burns and exposure incidents. Some citations were later withdrawn after internal review and meetings involving state officials, but worker advocates say the pattern is clear. Rapid expansion brought real risks, and the burden fell hardest on those digging beneath the city. Right now, Las Vegas is betting its future on a system still surrounded by unanswered questions about who it serves, at what cost, and for how long. With every new tunnel, that gamble becomes harder to reverse. The stakes aren't just money, they are the shape of the city to come.